All right, let's get everybody else online here before it's officially time for Broncos for breakfast. It's 7:31. We got one check mark. We got two. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Hello, hello. Happy Thursday, everyone. I don't know. My day's all messed up.
Thursday.
I was supposed to fly out the other day, so I'm out of whack. But it's Thursday, December 16th, 9 days until Christmas Day, and it's time for another episode of Broncos for breakfast. I am Nick Kendell and joined by, as always, good friend, co-host, football analyst extraordinaire, Scott Kennedy. Scott, how are you doing?
Wait, you meant me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I knew that the first part fit. The analyst. I always said lead lunatic. When that's how I always describe myself. So we're here for the lunatic fringe of football fans, and I can say that because I am lead lunatic.
Yeah, gosh. Go to bed thinking about football, wake up thinking about football, on your phone thinking about football. If that fits you, welcome in, guys. This is
You're
Broncos
in
for
the right
breakfast.
place.
You are in the right place. Couple of psychopaths, but that's great. Football is a great distraction, and that's what we're here for. So welcome in, welcome in. If this is your first time, this is Broncos for breakfast. We go at you guys live every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, 7:30 Mountain Time, to talk to you for your morning commute or your shower, as some people have apparently told us a lot. Maybe we need some Broncos for breakfast shower caps or something. But or the hotel soaps, that'd be hilarious.
Loofahs.
Oh my god. But yeah, no. Every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and coming at you live and talking some Broncos. And this week we're gonna talk a little bit of Bengals. But you guys can follow Scott and myself on Twitter. Scott is at Scout Kennedy. I am at Nick Kendell MHH. Also, make sure you're following our the Huddle Up Pod account at Huddle Up Pod, as well as the mothership account at Mile High Huddle. If you have not yet, make sure you head on over to huddleuppod.com to check out our gear, check out our swag, check out support us. Christmas is maybe it's a little bit late to get it for Christmas, but doesn't mean it's too late to treat yourself or one of your favorite Bronco fans. We got hats, we got beanies, we got coffee mugs, we got gators, we got shirts, we got everything you could possibly want. A lot of fun over there. Make sure you check it out. Also, make sure you're checking us out at facebook.com/Mile High Huddle and /Mile High Huddle pod. If you are over on Apple, I have not checked it today to see if anybody left a 5-star review while talking smack about me, but please go do that. I appreciate it. Leave your 5-star review and say that Nick, I did it so Nick would shut up. That would be a great one. If you're over on YouTube, please subscribe, like, and share. That's the number one thing you can do. Obviously, we really appreciate super chats, superstars, et cetera. But it's coming at the end of the month. December can sometimes be a little bit tough. I saw that student loans are going to kick back in here pretty soon. So I know that's going to be rough on some people. So make sure that something you can do for free, subscribe, like, and share to this channel. Hit the alert button. When we go live, you'll know. Also, make sure you're checking out Scott's channel at youtube.com/C/Scott Kennedy. Scott is like 30 subscribers away, 70 subscribers away from hitting 1,000. We can do this. The end of the year's coming. Please go check out Scott's channel. Subscribe there. We want to get it to 1K. We're so close. You can almost taste it. So please go over to Scott's channel. And we'll talk a lot of football, draft, Falcons, etc. over there. Guys,
Yep.
crypto.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we'll get there for sure. And we want to say thanks to our sponsor, and we want to tell you a little bit about them, mybookie.ag.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. Guys, cryptocurrency is the future, so don't get left in the past. Bet with mybookie.ag, and you can get in the game today. To get you kickstarted with your crypto, use my promo code MHH to double your first crypto deposit at mybookie.ag. The best part is mybookie.ag accepts well-known cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Litecoin, etc. So you can bet and withdraw with crypto starting today.
Sure, build your own props, create multi-game parlays, and take part in a host of MyBookie cash prize contests. This is the best time of the year to both watch and bet on sports because you already know who the winners are going to be by now. You've seen enough. You've got the sample size. Don't miss out. Double your first deposit by using promo code MHH, and keep your eyes peeled for more exclusive holiday promotions coming soon at mybookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.
All right, man. We've been cleaning out the fridge because obviously we're going to be gone for a couple of weeks, heading back to Iowa, and I'm drinking my coffee without cream. I know I'm one of those sacrilegious people who's always cream, and I'm digging it a little bit. Typically, I only have my black coffee when I'm in the backcountry, backpacking, et cetera, et cetera. It's like I need the caffeine. I don't need the cream.
It's kind of like other things. Once you get used to it, you don't want to go back. It tastes watery after that. If you were ever a beer drinker, once you start going up the dark scale, it's hard to come back down.
So it's the hop scale for me. That's the one. I really appreciate it. I'm on the West Coast. The West Coast IPAs don't do it as much for me. They taste a little too piney, but the New England ones with all the the citrus flavors in it. Oh man, the hazies, so good. The DWI guys coming in saying, for your snafu last night, Nick, LOL, with the 25 pounds. You know what? I just got to give a quick shout out to my wife for having the foresight to say, hey, the weather's going to be bad. Let's change our flights. There was like 100-mile-an-hour winds in Denver yesterday. There were
I'm not
tornadoes
sure
through
that's the
Iowa.
snafu he's talking about.
Oh. Well, was that last night? That was 2 nights ago.
It was
That's why I
Tuesday
was.
night.
Yes. Tuesday night. Well, either way, shout out to my wife because we switched our flights and we didn't avoid. We would still
Washington team football.
Yeah, gosh. Thank you guys so much, though. Also, DWI guys, Ethan coming in saying, good morning, gents in Broncos country. We got the real Pepe Silvia saying, hello, all the Broncos, Bebe is back. All right, there we go. EJ, good morning, Nick and Scott in Broncos country. Beat the Bengals. We got Jesse, good morning. Do you think that Myers is completely done in football, or can he recover from this? Urban, oh, man. Urban's going to be toxic for a little bit. There's no doubt about it. I know that the stuff surrounding Urban when he first left Florida was because he was how he was running the Florida program was literally killing him because he had to be like, 80 hours. You roll the eye roll there. Okay, my understanding is he had to take a little step back because he was so controlling and the way he wanted to do it was not sustainable for his long-term health. So he stepped away, went to but jumped at the NFL gig. He got paid. Now he's out. A little bit funny that he taught classes at Ohio State for leadership and people paid for that crap. But he's going to be out for a little bit. He's going to be toxic for a little bit. I could see him taking a supervisor role or a smaller university kind of leadership role, kind of like Jim Tressel when he stepped away, came back to Youngstown State. But he's going to be toxic for a little bit.
Urban Meyer is a less likable version of Bobby Bowden. He's a hypocrite of the first order.
Yeah.
We don't care, by golly, good God, the boys will be boys. We're going to do things the right way. Meanwhile, we got Aaron Hernandez out here whacking guys. The top 10% of the top 10% and all these cliches, but the man wins.
Yeah.
But like I said, he's a little bit more arrogant, less lovable version of Bobby Bowden in that regards. Bobby Bowden was a lovable guy. He just happened to realize that winning is what, buttered his bread and kind of overlooked some of the things that were going on with the Florida State Seminoles, more specifically later in his career as they started, I don't know if getting desperate was the right word, but kind of recruiting the wrong element to Florida State in the 2000s. He'll be, if he wants to be back in college football, he'll be back.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't matter. Dabo Sweeney yesterday complaining about the transfer portal and all this and this. I'm like, what are you making a year, Dabo?
Yeah, right.
5 million, 6 million, get over it. Cash your paycheck. If the guys want to leave, let them leave. You guys all are professionals except the ones that you count on. That's there's a phrase I've used for years that says, I don't mind an a-hole, I can't stand a hypocrite. And the hypocrisy in NCAA sports is just overwhelming to me. And Urban Meyer kind of fits that bill.
It does seem like Clemson's sun is maybe starting to set a little bit. I think they finished with like the 15th recruiting class. Then they've typically been top 3 recently. We'll see. But that's a team that's been
I think
very
they'll be fine. And he's set up to take the Alabama gig if he wants it.
That's the one.
So if he wants it, he's set up to take that one. And guess what? He wouldn't have to sit out a year if he took it.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm thinking he wouldn't take it for free, and he could take whoever he wants to with him. They wouldn't have to sit out a year. Like I said, the hypocrisy. I love Steve Spurrier. Steve Spurrier was a jerk. He was an honest jerk, and I loved him. He wasn't ever trying to be anything else. It's the snake oil salesman hypocrites that really drive me crazy. And I love Saban. Man. Saban's a mercenary. He is an absolute killer. He doesn't pretend to be anything else. We don't have to be friends. We don't have to go play golf. I'm not going to pretend to like you. I'm going to go win football games. You're my guy. I like that in a person. Be yourself. We don't have to like each other, but at least be real. Anyway, sorry. Coffee's kicking in already this morning, y'all.
Getting some college football talking. Yeah, it's like Clemson lost their DC, their OC, their AD. So I don't know what's going to happen there. But thank you so much for your comment, Jesse. Sending us down the college football. I love college football. So fun. Let's get Scott riled up too. We got US Dave saying Buenos Dias. Jeremy is in the house. Good morning, Broncos fam. We got Mo Ron. Morning to you. Albert, good to see you, Albert. Morning, y'all. DBA's in the house. Good morning. Cleatoris, the Bo Nix era was exciting, eh? Man, Bo Nix. I saw not number one quarterback in this draft.
If it was the Malik Willis era.
Probably. Probably, man. Auburn, they'll get it back around. There's too much talent down there. Dom's in the house. Good morning, fellas. Winter has come to New Mexico. 27 degrees this morning. 7-6 Broncos football on Sunday. Tough game this weekend. Yeah, this is going to be a tough one. Aaron Richardson saying literally get in the shower now. Gosh, we're with you, Aaron. We're watching now. Good morning to Greg Smith.
Don't forget to clean behind your ears.
Important. The feet. Got to scrub the feet. Victor Rios. Good morning to you. Dave Glassman sending in the hearts. Thank you so much. We got Robot of Doom. Robot maybe with a new picture there in the background. It looks a little different. Morning, fellows. Listening while doing leg day in the gym. Also seeing Spider-Man tonight. And there's a cute girl in the gym next to me. What else could I ask for? Oh, a Broncos win. Don't be creepy, Robot. Don't be just, eyes
it's
up.
Motivation. I call it motivation. It's funny, when you're first married and you mention something out about, oh, that was a girl's really pretty. It's like, you're married. I'm like, yeah. So she's not pretty? That made her stop. I'm supposed to not think that women are pretty anymore? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I say, I appreciate pretty women. I married one. That was, motivation. It's always nice to have a little motivation in the gym that way. So get a little extra in there. And we skipped over. So Shane had a comment in here too. I'm not sure if we're quite down to him. I want to pop on his real quick because he had some stars coming in. Was patient. He says, "Good morning. What are your 3 keys to winning this Sunday?" Let's hit 3 quick ones while we're scrolling through the chat, saying hello, and then we'll dive in a little deeper as we move through the show today.
Yeah, 3 keys to winning on Sunday for the Broncos. Number 1 is score the most points out of the teams on the field. No, I think number 1 is you got to take advantage of the turnover opportunities. Because Joe Burrow is going to put the ball in harm's way. I have the stats right here. The Bengals so far this season are 25th in the NFL in interceptions per drive. They also have one of the most possessions per game. So they typically will run kind of more of a high-flying offense. And that means that you're going to have some opportunities to take away the football. However, while they have a lot of drives, they're not very good per drive. 30th in plays per drive. So they're going to get off the field. They're going to have their fair amount of, inefficient drives, so to speak. So I think taking the football away is number 1. Number 2 is, can the Broncos run defense show anything? They've been really inefficient these last few weeks. Didn't really matter when they pulled away so much against the Lions, but that second quarter was scary. I mean, it looked like Moses parting the sea up there with that Broncos run defense. So it's not good. So that's one. Joe Mixon, this Bengals interior offensive line has been getting better. So how can the run defense show up? That's going to be key. And the other one for me is, if and when Teddy is called upon, can he deliver? We saw it versus one game where I think people are already forgetting that Chargers game. There were a lot of 3rd and longs. There were some red zone attempts. He stiff armed Joey Bosa and then threw a touchdown to Eric Saubert. I mean, Teddy, probably with how good the Bengals are relative to the Broncos, you're going to have to rely on your drop back pass game. Can Teddy deliver when his number is called upon?
I'm going to make this real easy because I'm going super cliched on this, but they're cliched for a reason. One of my favorite phrases is, how do you think they become stereotypes? Not because of the exception to the rule.
Yeah.
You got to limit their running game. You got to run the ball, and you got to win the turnover battle. I mean, I know. Thanks, Coach Speak, Scott. I know. But I think the Broncos are good enough on the back end of their defense that limiting the big plays should be a given to a certain extent. I expect that. Can they stop Joe Mixon from running the ball? Can they stop Deebo Samuel from running the ball, by the way, who's doing his best Cordero Patterson impression over the last 4 weeks? He's got like 27 carries, 300 yards, and five or six touchdowns in the last 4 weeks. And by the way, they're 4-0 in the last 4 games that he's played and gotten at least 5 carries out of the backfield. That's not a coincidence. Wrong team. That's San Francisco. I'm doing my San Francisco-Cincinnati again after watching San Francisco-Cincinnati.
Yeah. I was going to say Debo.
I caught myself yesterday. I kept thinking the Falcons were playing the Bengals and vice versa. I got the 49ers, this West Coast, East Coast thing all messed up. So for your preview on the Atlanta Falcons and Deebo Samuel, hit rewind.
I love
Sorry. Too much football, not enough coffee. Joe Mixon is a beast. He is. Can you stop him? Force Joe Burrow to pass the ball, and I think you'll be okay. On offense, you've got to be able to run the ball. San Francisco had success running the ball against Cincinnati early, and Cincinnati played awful in the first half of that game. I saw 4 fumbles. 1, they said he was down, but 4 special teams fumbles in the first half of that game against the 49ers. 49ers should have blown them out. So super cliche. Run the ball, stop the run, and take advantage of the turnovers and don't turn the ball over. So there we go. Apologies for my gaffe on my 49ers this morning.
That's okay. That you're right, and I harp on it, and I feel like on Twitter I've kind of become this like I'm not supporting Teddy Bridgewater over anything, but like I've always been hammering home how important winning the turnover battle is. Do you know what the rate is in the NFL for when the team that wins the turnover battle? How often do they actually win the game?
70%.
80.
Wow.
80% of the time, the team that wins the turnover battle wins the game. So you can't have it. I know
But
people.
Teddy's thrown interceptions this year.
He's
And he's like 24th in the league
yeah.
in most interceptions. That's not bad.
No, not at all. I know that people want the little bit more exciting football, but I will, with how good the defense is playing with the complementary rushing game as well. I, I will take, if there's any give and take, I will take the lack of the vertical pass game if it means less interceptions because that is so important. You cannot give the football, especially in today's era, to the other team with short fields to go. That's what killed the defense last year. It's what's killing the Bengals defense this year. Their raw data for points per game, the yards per game, etc., not great. However, their efficiency stats, because of how inefficient the Bengals offense is for a per drive, they're not very good. So the Bengals defense in efficiency stats, yards per drive, they're third. Points per drive, they're ninth. Plays per drive, they're fourth. All very good, but the Bengals are putting them in bad situations. They have the 26th best average starting field position because of the Bengals turning the ball over, the inefficiency on offense, and it's putting them in a bad spot. So it's really, if the Broncos can run the football, possess the football where the Bengals are not doing that as often, win the turnover battle, that should be enough, especially the Broncos getting an early lead. But man, that turnover battle, I harp on it. It's always like, Nick, what are your keys to the victory? Carl and I used to do this every Tuesday for the game. It's like, Nick's number one. Everyone, what is it? Turnovers. Yeah, okay. So that's always number one. Miguel coming in. Good morning, fellas. Do you think Cincinnati is going to try and beat us through the air with Chase and Higgins or attack the linebackers with Mixon?
Going to try and beat us through the air.
Yes. Probably both. And I'm glad that, Miguel, shout out to you. I'm glad that you brought up T. Higgins. I went back and checked the data and watched some game. Honestly, some recent games, T. Higgins has impressed me more than Jamar Chase. T. Higgins was a slender man out there for Clemson for a few years with Trevor Lawrence, and he's actually really good at like throttling down considering how long he is. And another thing about the Bengals that is interesting is because of their size they have on the boundary at wide receiver and Joe Burrow willing to test windows, the Bengals maybe are not best at yards per possession or anything like that. They're only 20th in yards per possession, but they're 11th in points per drive. They're 9th in touchdowns per drive and touchdowns per red zone trip. So once they get to the red zone, they've been really good at banging it home and putting it past the goal line because of those two big wide receivers and the run game that they have. So it's going to be scary. I think the Bengals will probably try to use the ground game. They've maybe been a team that I know a lot of Pro Football Focus people have been screaming like, oh, they should pass the ball more. They should pass the ball more. This is the game maybe where they'll be happy that they have Joe Mixon because the Broncos' underbelly with the run defense has been vulnerable. It just has been vulnerable.
And Miguel, appreciate the stars. I would run the ball first. I would make them try and stop the run. The Broncos, to me, have been the most vulnerable when you run right at them. DeAndre coming in, appreciate the stars, DeAndre, on that
DeAndre,
one.
Yes.
But yeah, going back to Miguel real quick, I would run the ball first, stop the run. It's the easiest thing to do. You know, there's dangers in throwing the ball. What was the old saying? You know, there's 4 things that can happen, and 3 of them are bad. With
Woody Hayes, right?
Is it 3 and there 2 of them 3. Are bad?
It was 3.
I don't remember, but it was it's simple. If you can run the ball, run it. So prove to me you can stop the run.
Yeah. Absolutely. We got Travis coming in as well. I'm not sure if this is stars from Travis, but Travis is always pretty consistent with that. So we'll give you a freebie either way. Love you, Travis. Hope excited about your Utah Utes coming up in the Rose Bowl. Cheering for them. I got to cheer for the Big Ten, though. I don't know. Devin Lloyd, have a good game. Good morning, Nick Scott in Broncos country. I want nothing more than the Broncos to be successful and make the playoffs, but torn of the thought of if we do that with Fangio and company, we'll be retained. You know, I think that one more year of Fangio is not the worst thing in the world. That means that you had success down the stretch because that's the only way that he's back. So that's a good thing. And B, it means that the timing wise for hiring the head coach and the ownership is much more in line. Right now, the Broncos are in a really bad spot, I would say.
Limbo.
Weird spot. Yeah, it's a limbo.
And getting your quarterback.
Yes. Yeah, it's a weird
and getting your quarterback right now. So there's a lot kind of in flux.
Yes. So I think if you bring back Fangio for one more year because the Broncos get 10 wins and make the playoffs or just barely miss the playoffs with 10 wins, then I could see Fangio being back, and then it's a playoffs or bust ultimatum next year with probably a more difficult schedule. Then at least it'll be a new head coach search with the ownership in place rather than this unknown, which makes it pretty hard. I mean, if I was going to a business and they're like, listen, the person who's going to be paying you, he's going to be gone in 2 weeks. It's going to be a new person. So I can't make you any promises of what the future is going to look like, but we'd love to have you. Some coach is still going to jump in it, but maybe some of those better ones out there would be like, yeah, I'm going to wait for other offers because this one seems a little bit uh, unstable right now. So we'll see. But I mean, heck, you paid Vic Fangio for this defense. This defense seems to be coming around, but we're going to find out over these last 4 weeks because they're playing some pretty good defenses. Ashton's in the house. Good morning to you. Edward's in the house. Morning to you as well, Edward. We got a Ashton saying, "Can you guys try to do a high five on camera?" Okay, I think you got to go opposite. It's opposite.
Backwards.
Yep. 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah! Look at that. Boom. Wonder Twins unite. There we go. He said please as well. So we'll do it for money next time. Albert coming in here saying, what do you think will happen to the running backs during the Bengals game? Run them often or hardly? You never know with Shermer. Okay, got to put on my Shermer sympathizer hat. I think he's done a pretty good job with the running back splits recently. You have 2 of the top 15 running backs in football right now. I think he's using them pretty much to perfection. They're getting used in the pass game in the red zone. It's a high volume. If anything, he doesn't go to them enough. Now, I know that's pretty hard if you're falling behind because you need chunk plays, and chunk plays are more likely to come through the pass game, whether that be completions or defensive pass interferences. But I think that he's going to use them, and it's going to be interesting to see if the Broncos are efficient with the running backs because the Bengals do have a pretty good run defense. I think they're second in the NFL in rush success rate this season, defensive rush success rate. And DJ Jones has been playing excellent football for them. DJ Jones was, and if you guys, DJ Jones, that seems, or DJ Reader, excuse me, DJ Reader, that name sounds familiar. Yes, he spurned the Broncos. He was one of the Broncos' number one guys they tried to get 2 off seasons ago. And he was interviewed like, oh, why did you pick the Bengals over the Broncos? He's like, the choice was easy. Joe Burrow or Drew Lock. Are you kidding me? I'm taking Joe Burrow. So a little bit of diss there to the Broncos quarterback, but it's okay. We've moved on as a society. We're in a post Drew Lock society here in Denver's Broncos country on Broncos for breakfast. But that'll be an interesting one.
4 of the last 5 games, rushing yards, 190, 96 is the loss, 147, 154, 184. Shermer's figured out the strength of this team, or at least gotten it together where he's now the strength of the team is shining through for one reason or another. The strength of this team is running the football. I expect to see a heavy dose of run. Now, I'd like to see more play action shots, some more naked boots, play action boot, and that type of stuff. I would like to see more of that in the passing game because if you can run the ball, passing gets easy. It should be much easier. Your yards per play, your yards per attempt, your yards per completion should all go up if you're able to run the ball. That's the next step for this offense. I don't know if they can. That's the question.
Yeah, they do you buy in at all that the play action, one of the reasons they might be going away from it right now is due to Teddy's injuries? And with the play action drop back game, obviously they're going to have less time to process the pass rush because your back's going to be to the line of scrimmage and you don't have as much. I don't know if Teddy has as much mobility.
It's usually a 1 or 2 read at most. So, it's not a drop back scan through with the play action. You're taking your running back, you're trying to fool somebody, and it's usually a 1 or 2 read at most. A bootleg is absolutely a 1 or 2 read at most. Those should be easy. You run those to simplify things for your quarterback. Now,
think you can get
hold up long enough up the middle, because that's where you're most vulnerable in a play action too, is the middle blitzes. So I don't know for sure, but Teddy's moving around well enough to do the play action without a doubt.
Yeah. We got Max Power coming in saying, well, good morning, guys. Good morning to you, Max, with the 5 pounds. Excuse me. That's pounds, right? Yes. That looks like an LE. Who are the most underrated and overrated guys on the Broncos right now? I'll go first. Most underrated. I don't know if I should be better than this. I don't know when the Pro Bowl voting ends or when it kicks off. I know it's already happening, but somebody who I don't see on any of my Broncos Twitter accounts that I'm following or anything like that that doesn't get the votes that should be, without a doubt, is Draymond Jones. Draymond Jones is top 10 in interior defensive line pressures this year. He's been good against the run, and he's been doing it really with guys around him struggling. I mean, let's just call it as it is. Shelby Harris has not been good this year. Mike Purcell, not been good this year. Malik Reed, especially in the rush game, not been good this year. Bradley Chubb, not been good this year. So Draymond Jones has been vastly underrated. I know that I've been talking about him a lot. Some people who are really into that trench football kind of stuff have been talking about him. It's still not enough. He's been that good, especially considering defensive line is it's a synergistic kind of thing where the more guys you have up there, the easier it gets for your good players. And he's been getting the attention. He's still getting it done. So Draymond Jones has been very underrated for me.
How about on offense? I might go Garrett Bowles is the most overrated, at least overpaid, and someone that has recognition as a top pick across the league. That's where you start looking about overrated. I'm trying to think from the outside. Underrated for me from the inside is who is more of an underappreciated player. I still think Kareem Jackson is one of the most underappreciated players on this team.
Yeah.
Is he being used? How is he being used? We talk about wanting someone to come up and be physical and all of those things. Man, Kareem Jackson's the most physical guy on the field, and he's 180 pounds. To his own detriment, he is. And that kind of play is inspiring. You're talking about a guy who has played corner and safety, as a good mentor in the backfield to some of the young defensive backs. The new defensive backs you've brought in can learn from him. And the example that he sets as an older guy, he's going out there literally breaking himself all the time as someone who's on the tail end of his career. That sets a huge example.
Yeah. I mean, Vic just said that Kareem's one of his favorite players he's ever coached.
I know, which means I must be wrong. But, when I watch effort plays, we talk about, I think sometimes the effort and fire and all this kind of stuff is just overlooking from saying, hey, I don't really know what I'm looking for, because it's been pretty simple to me. The guys that are better in the trenches have been beating you. But when defense is about passion, and when you need that fire, you can count on Kareem Jackson. He's one of your soldiers out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And overrated for me, I'm sticking on both on the defensive side of the ball. Overrated is Kenny Young. I feel like Broncos country. I saw a lot of people on Twitter.
God, they were talking $4 or $5 million. I'm like, are you joking?
Yeah,
you can double his salary and pay him too. Quit negotiating against yourselves. Yeah. Good shout, Nick.
Yeah, Kenny Young has been average. I mean, there's a reason that you got him for as little as you did. And he's solidified the position, no doubt, but that's because you had injuries. And in the run game, these last few weeks, Kenny Young has been an issue. He just has. And when he's the only linebacker on the field.
Start. He's been able to stay on the field.
Yeah, that's fair, but it's just he's not a difference maker at the linebacking position. And when Baron Browning has been hurt and Kenny Young has become the linebacker one, those dime packages have not been pretty from him either. So everybody's like, oh man, Kenny Young, yay, we moved on from Alexander Johnson and Josie Jewell. Alexander Johnson and Josie Jewell are better than Kenny Young. I'm sorry. I don't know what you guys are. I don't know what you're seeing. I feel like there's such a disconnect here with this Kenny Young hype. Maybe it's because he's new and he's this athletic linebacker. I don't think he's even that
the hope
athletic.
Factor again. Oh,
yeah.
I know what I've got here, and but this guy could be better.
Yeah, it's the mystery box.
Yeah.
You know how much we wanted a boat. It could even be a boat. We'll take the boat. We'll take the box. We got Greg Smith coming in here. Chris, Scott, I'm sorry. I got to put up Chris's roast here for a second. First time seeing the show for a moment, I thought it was Peyton Manning's head. I'm going to join you in solidarity now for the rest of the show. So we got to go there. How dare you, Chris? No, thank you for joining us for the first time.
Doesn't help that the camera is right at my forehead.
I know.
Well, I've got a big forehead. So
you got to get that Broncos for breakfast beanie over there.
The beanie was ordered for Christmas. We missed Timothy in here too.
Oh, let's get it.
Yeah. Timothy, thank you for the stars, my friend. Says, could our run game and defense get us into the playoffs? Yeah, could.
Yeah,
it could. I mean, what are the odds doing it? Now, the Raiders are pulling a Raiders. It's good to get the Raiders at the end of the season, isn't it?
Yeah.
Give them time to go ahead and implode, because 3-4 weeks ago, this was a loss chalked up. Now it's you might be favored in this game. 2-2 gives you 9-8, which is a flip of the coin right now. If you're able to get one more, get a split with the Chiefs and the Chargers, 3-1, 10-7 gets you in. 10-7 gets you in the playoffs. More of a possibility than I felt so last week, simply because where the Raiders have gone. Just because of where the Raiders have gone. I think you're still going to be pretty heavy underdogs against the Chiefs and the Chargers, but you did well against the Chargers. Again, it's not so much Jekyll and Hyde as the teams you're playing. The nasty AFC North blue-collar teams you've struggled with. we want to get fancy out west, old school Bill Walsh West Coast offense teams. You've handled, and it's not just bad teams. Didn't you say last week or earlier this week the Broncos are 3-2 against teams that are in the playoffs right now?
Yep.
So it's not just bad teams. It's not.
Nope, it's not. But yeah, definitely the Broncos, a formula to win football games, even in 2021. If you can run the ball efficiently, if you can play good defense, and you can limit turnovers, you can win. You can compete with almost anybody. Obviously, if a quarterback goes God mode against you, or so your quarterback, poops the bed, that's going to be hard to win. But you can win football games that way in today's NFL, any given Sunday for sure. The one thing that scares me about that formula is that it also typically requires good special teams play to have truly complementary football. You have to have your kicking game and the return game and everything good as well to get those hidden yards, pinning teams back deep. And that's one of the things that Chargers game was perfect. I mean, the game Broncos didn't get a touchdown on the first drive, but they moved the ball, got good field position, and then they put down the ball in the one. Chargers can't do anything from there. They get a 3-and-out, and the Broncos then have the ball the Chargers side of the field when they get it again. That's what the Hawkeyes lived on this year. They had a terrible offense, but they had probably the best starting field position in football. And it was good enough because of everything they had there. Ethan coming in, 5 pounds again. Thank you so much, Ethan. Supporting the show, keeping the lights on, giving us coffee, maybe getting us an extra Christmas present for the stocking. Says, what's the status of Pookie's knee? Just precautionary. Yeah, I think Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams are held out on Wednesday with injuries. It's definitely precautionary. But again, this is a reason that if you want your team to have a running identity, you probably want to have 2 running backs that have similar skill sets, because guess what? You guys should know this by now. Injuries happen. Guys get dinged up. So if one guy is a little bit more banged up than the other, guess what? You can lean on one or the other given a game and give them some help and keep them fresh. So I'm not worried about it, but it's something that you want to we will want to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and it's not just injuries; it's the wear and tear. At what point does Javonte Williams stop being Javonte Williams? I think long term. Again, we think like general managers a lot of the time, and I want Pookie Williams to be at this level in 4 years, not burned out after 2. So yeah, precautionary. The injury that Melvin Gordon had, it actually happened in the first half of the Lions game. Mm-hmm. They wrapped up his hand and he went back in and played. So he seems like he should be fine, and I think Pookie is fine too. But I've been an advocate for how these running backs have been used all season. Now, since we've really talked about the crucial moments, there really hasn't been those crucial moments to find out, is Javonte going to get the ball? Because last week you were against the Lions. It didn't really matter. That was a time to use your number 2. I wanted Melvin Gordon getting more touches in that game. You can beat him. You don't need 25 touches from Pookie Williams to beat the Lions. And before that, Melvin Gordon was out. So with both of them healthy, again, for me, it's not that Javonte Williams gets more touches. It's when Javonte Williams gets more touches. And I think we're trending in the right direction there.
Yeah, absolutely. Trending in the right direction as always. Peter Middleton saying his holiday just started. A good night from Cambodia. Hope you're having a good one, Peter. It's always great to see you. Happy holidays. Michael Ronquillo is also in the house. Good morning, Broncos country. Go Broncos. Peter Middleton also saying Johnson to be active as a safety then. Wonder how he'll be. Which Johnson? I'm confused about this comment.
Jamar Johnson, safety.
Oh, I don't know if he's going to be active. I think he's been looks like a redshirt year for Jamar Johnson, and I don't think he is as capable of wearing as many hats as right now Vic Fangio and Ed Donatell are asking from that third safety. The ability to come down and play dime or slot, something that Caden Stearns has the ability to do that we haven't seen from Jamar. But yeah, there's no worry to rush on Jamar. And this is another reason why in that 5th round they took 2 safeties. If one of them hits, Yahtzee. That's the hit rate on the 5th round is not good. So they got one. If Jamar Johnson doesn't play a snap, it wouldn't be the worst use of resources in the world. But we'll see him hopefully next year.
And Greg, I appreciate you. It was yesterday, right before we went on, we were doing Falcons 49ers. I had Bengals in my head all morning. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, this is great. You know how easy it is to do Broncos Falcons when they're playing the 49ers and Bengals, and the 49ers and Bengals are playing each other that week? I can watch one game. Yeah, but now I can't keep them straight. Thanks.
Yeah. We got Lawrence coming in here as well. Lawrence, always a consistent contributor. I'm not sure if these are stars, but you're a star in my eye, Lawrence, so appreciate you. I could see this team making a really good playoff run if Teddy gets to throwing far, so we could actually get some more running room. He needs to connect so teams actually fear his arm. I don't know if anybody's going to fear his arm, and I don't want it's not to be reusing old material, but it's like Hitch with Kevin James and Will Smith, where he's like, this is your happy place. Don't be anything you're not. And I don't want Teddy to be anything he isn't. He doesn't even have to go out there and be Josh Allen. Do the Broncos need to get their passing game going more than it has been recently? Yes. If they're going to make the playoffs and have any chance in the playoffs, yes, they need to figure out how to utilize their weapons in space and get the ball and get some explosive pass plays. They just have not been getting those. But the most important thing is possessing the football, efficient run game, efficient pass game, and getting points in these long drives to protect your defense, to complement your defense, and that can win you some football games. So hopefully the other stuff will come. I don't want Teddy to go out there and act like he's Patrick Mahomes, because he's not. You got to go execute with how you're a point guard. It's like if I hate to use the cross sports analysis. I love to use cross sports.
Yeah, I would say, what do you mean? Come on. Be honest.
But it's like you're going to ask Rajon Rondo to go start putting up threes like Seth Curry or driving to the hole like Russell Westbrook. No, each of these guys have different styles and they can be effective in different ways. So you want them to be where you want to figure out how they win. And right now, the way Teddy is winning is protecting the football and handing it to his two great running backs.
Does Shermer have the bootleg in his scheme at all? I mean, watching a Shanahan offense and Matt Ryan, Matt Ryan's not mobile at all.
Yeah,
but they boot all the time, and it's really effective. It just, the way you run them, they do it with a hell of a lot worse running game than the Broncos have right now. It just because it makes sense doesn't mean it's been practiced. You can't just throw that in right away. It's, there's, again, playing offense is hard. There's 11 guys that have to be on the same page or it's a negative play.
You don't see as much of the bootlegs from Shermer because most of the run looks are the inside zone or the duo compared to the zone stretch, which you see from Kyle Shanahan, the Kubiak tree, etc., which one typically, because of the zone stretch, you want to keep that backside defender in place, and that's what that boot is important for. I don't need to explain to you. This is for the listeners. I know that. But you're not going to see that as much with the inside zone, the duo, because the defense is not going to be moving laterally like you would see with the outside zone. So that's one reason I don't think you see as many boots, but I'm 100% with you. If you're running the ball effectively, more play action. More play action on first down specifically. That's the one where you want to get a kill shot. I know that you're in trouble if it's second and long. This is one of the worst second and long teams in football. But you want to get some kill shots. It's that first down play action where the team is going to say, this Broncos team is going to run for sure. And I don't want to give Shermer too much credit here. Maybe this is me putting on my tinfoil hat here for a second, but Broncos probably knew they were going to beat the Lions, right? With how badly they were winning the first quarter and whatnot. In college football, this happens all the time. When you're playing a lesser team, you're putting stuff on tape to set yourself up later. You're putting up some tendencies on tape saying, okay, I'm going to run this play 3 or 4 times. It might not be that effective in this one, but I know the opponent next week is going to say, okay, when they line up like this in this situation, this is what they're going to run. Then you hit them with the play action, something totally different, or the wide receiver cuts up field instead of having a curl. I mean, those are the tendency breakers that you want to set up so that way you can go to that bag of tricks for that one play when you really need it. You didn't need it against the Lions. You did not need it against the Lions. You will need a couple of those tricks down the stretch here. So that's what I'm thinking. Maybe that's a little bit too much credit for Shermer, but that's what you see in when I've talked with a lot of college coaches up the ranks, that you're setting things up for later. You want to put things up on film so that way later when you show that look, you can hit them with a counter.
So, and Peter coming in says, they're not practicing a few of their OL, so I would aim to pressure them there with more great runs and fan over the top. So a little combination there. I'd like to see some just quick seam routes, some slants. Get that big dude moving forward and hit him in stride instead of, on a turn and then he's got to get started again or try and get any wiggle. So even the old sluggo route, a slant and go up the seam would be nice. Those are all easy passes to take the top off a defense that you don't have to have a huge arm for. The slant and go is easy. The fade routes are easy. You don't have to have a huge arm for those. Quarterbacks in high school make those throws. So again, what can you do to take the pressure off the stacked box? There's plenty you can do. Will we see it or not? We'll see.
Yeah, no, this is a good comment here. Thank you so much, Peter. I'll let Scott look around to see if there are any more supers. Something about this game that also concerns me for the Broncos is that the Broncos defensive line, we talked about earlier about Draymond Jones being underrated. The rest of the Broncos defensive line may be overrated. Bradley Chubb is coming back from the surgery, so I'm willing to give
back one up. We'll come back to you, Lawrence, because on Twitch, Robot of Doom had one that fits into what Nick is saying about right now. He said, also thought, is the issue why we can't get a great pass rush because we don't have that dominant force up the middle? Maybe we draft a DT or a D end.
Draymond Jones has not been a dominant force up the middle, but he's been really good. It would be awesome to see Akeem Hicks style player next to him, with a guy who is, 6'5", 330 with length that can rush the passer as like a one technique in those sub packages. Right now, Shelby Harris has been, I love Shelby the dude, and he's a great story and whatnot, but he's been below average as a starter this year on the defensive line. So is Mike Purcell. But I don't think the interior is not as much of an issue for me as far as pass rush. It's the edge rushers. Malik Reed is pretty much only I think Malik Reed would be better in a 4-3 as a sim that can reduce down to the line of scrimmage in rush downs because he's solid in coverage, but he's just so bad in the rush game. And having to ask him have to play 7 technique while rushing the passer and holding the edge is just not very conducive to winning football games. Cooper's been a little bit inconsistent. I know that we're excited about the flashes, but to me, I'm not ready to even cement him as a full-time starter quality edge rusher yet. Maybe he's a really, really good backup. We'll see. But I think it's more on the edge rusher, the edge rushing positions. Those guys got to get it done. And the Broncos, if they're going to make the playoffs, Bradley Chubb needs to take multiple steps forward down the stretch. Fair or not, I know he's coming off the injury, et cetera, but he needs to step forward and be better and a more a presence that demands attention than he has been to free up Draymond and make this defensive line better, because that's been the most disappointing unit on this defense.
Yeah, sure. My quick answer on this is in a 3-4 defense, your 3 defensive linemen are there to take up 5 blockers so your edge rushers can eat. Mm-hmm. So, who's been your leading sacker the last 2 seasons? Malik Reed. Is he somebody that you consider a plus player in the NFL? No, that's a schematic thing. It's like, oh, he's getting all these sacks. Oh, it's because he's an edge rusher in a 3-4 with a pretty good front 3 in front of him, and Draymond and Shelby that he's playing next to.
And good secondary.
What now?
And a good secondary.
So getting more of a pass rush, you anything you get from those inside 3 is gravy to a certain extent. They are there to hold the line and make sure that the linebackers are filling gaps on the running game, and your edge rushers are getting their sacks. It's a blue collar, non-glorified, workman-like job to play defensive line in a 3-4.
Yep. It is, and that's why guys like Aaron Donald are that much more special, or J.J. Watt that much more special. Lawrence Rivera, I could see this team making a good playoff run if Teddy gets to throw in far so we could actually get some more running room. He needs to connect so teams actually fear his arm. The Broncos have actually been running the ball efficiently against the heavier boxes, which is crazy, but you're 100% right. And I don't know if it's injuries. I don't know if it's just the wear and tear of the season. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater, the first 3 games, he was incredible. After that, he's taken a step back. I know he had that concussion. He's definitely, hopped up on Toradol on the sideline there. But at some point, you're right. It gets to a point in the NFL season where unless there's no team that's good enough where you're never going to be completely independent of the quarterback play. We saw that like in the 2000s with some Alabama teams, et cetera, but that's not the case in the NFL. So at some point it's going to fall on Teddy, and hopefully it's good Teddy that day. We've seen Teddy's been a little bit up and down these last few weeks, and how Teddy's played this team is gone, but Teddy was amazing. He actually was really, really good against the Chargers. He was very good against the Cowboys as well. Broncos spanked those teams. He was bad against the Chiefs. And he was not that good against the Lions either.
He was efficient. He was good enough.
He made good reads.
I think he was 18 for 25 and a pair of touchdowns.
Yeah.
But it was all inside stuff. It was all running backs and tight ends. The wide receivers still aren't getting involved. And again, he's not the guy that's going to come out there and hit a 20-yard out.
No,
to get so in order, and with the running game going, you can get those guys involved. Some bubble screens, some slants, some quick outs, some jet sweeps, something. But let's get those guys the ball too. I agree.
And something I want to bring up.
Appreciate the stars, my friend. Big stars coming in here. And let's see. Wyatt coming in says, we missed the outlaw in the middle of holding the fort down. One of the most underrated on the team. Now, I didn't get to see a lot of Josie Jewell before he got hurt. Mm-hmm. I know the talk of him coming in, blue collar guy, does a job, not all that dynamic. He was playing fantastic. I'm like, okay, if that's the way he's thought, this is my underrated player because he is a really good middle linebacker. And then he got hurt playing special teams. That was really unfortunate because I agree with you. He was outplaying my initial perceptions, which is why I kind of like going in blind on things because I don't want to carry that bias, the preconceptions in there. This is a guy that doesn't watch previews for movies that I want to go see. I agree with you. I agree with you on this, Wyatt. Good shout.
Yeah, Josie's been very good. He's actually one of the better graded defenders as far as coverage goes. Really, actually pretty good at making the tackle when guys come into his zone. Like linebackers, there's a really big misconception of linebacker play. They're not playing like cornerbacks. They're going to there's just more space and there's more underneath throws that they're going to give up. What's important for linebackers in coverage is minimizing the damage. When those guys come into your zone or your responsibility, you're able to close on them and tackle them. And Josie's actually been pretty damn good in that. His biggest issue his rookie season wasn't coverage and whatnot. It was that his smaller frame and shorter arms meant that when he was coming downhill, he sometimes had a propensity to get washed away. He was struggling to disengage from blocks, but he got so much better than that over the last couple seasons. And I'm here, man. Pay Josie Jewell 2-year, $10 million. I'd be okay with that. He's been that good for this team when he's been healthy. So we'll see. Peter Middleton coming in saying Purcell will get cut. I like the NT option for the wild card draft pick, but I'll bet outside linebacker or right tackle first. I mean, the first question, it's a flow graph or a flow chart here. Do you have your franchise quarterback? So all roads lead to quarterback. Are the Broncos going to have their pick because they trade for a veteran? We'll see. If not, I mean, quarterback in the first round, as much as it makes me
Next
feel
question, is one available?
Can you get one? Is one
Can
available?
You get one? You know, yeah. I don't want to waste a 17 or 18 pick on a guy that I don't think can play.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. And I know that some people get some eye rolls here, but like if you can't get Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, I am fine making a very solid offer for a Matt Ryan, for a Kirk Cousins, because those guys, you're talking a top 10 quarterback. And I don't think you would probably work out something contractually with them to maybe extend them to lessen their cap hit. That would be part of the negotiation here. Like we're only going to trade for you if you agree to do this contractually. And that could make it a little bit more palatable for those guys. And the issue for me isn't Kirk Cousins with his play on the field. Vikings defense is terrible. I know Kirk hasn't lived up to the big moments, but like still a team game out there, folks. If you put Kirk Cousins on this Tampa Bay team, this Tampa Bay team is rolling still. But that's for Kirk, it's the $45 million cap hit. It's the dollar, it's the production per dollar. And if you can stamp that down a little bit where he's more getting paid in that like top 12 to 10 range versus the top 3, I'll take it. I will take it. I think Peyton can build up a good enough roster around him without that massive cap hit on the quarterback to get a team. So we'll see. Miguel coming in here. Thank you so much, Miguel. I really don't mind Fangio. If we can make a run, can you see Peyton forcing Shurmur out? There'll be a discussion at the end of the season. But guys, I mean, I know that people get really frustrated with Shurmur and there's this black cloud hanging over him because like a lot of people want to say that Shurmur is the reason that Drew Lock failed. But Shurmur had all the reasons to be not as effective last year that Locke did too, right? Except he also had Locke. Maybe it was even a little bit worse for Shurmur in that regard because Locke was struggling so bad. But I'm a Shurmur pacifist, but this Broncos defense, a lot of the metrics, they've been pretty good this season. And I think he's been pretty good with the run game. There are limitations on this team. The offensive line pass protection has been poor. I don't think we talk enough about that if we're screaming about Teddy, but Quinn Miners, Bobby Massey, Garrett Bowles, not really doing very good in pass protection, period. They're just not. So maybe they'll have a conversation about it. I think Vic is going to say, listen, he's my guy. He was running the type of offense that I wanted to run to complement the defense, and it got us to the playoffs. So I don't think if Fangio's back, I would be shocked if Shurmur is not also back, unless there's some backroom deals going on, like Darrell Bevel gets fired from Jacksonville. Oh, Darrell Bevel, Marty Schottenheimer, you guys worked with Russell Wilson? Maybe come on over to Denver. Maybe that connection will be a big deal for us. I don't know. I'm just saying things. That's the only way I could see it if Fangio is back. Otherwise, he's probably going to want to keep Shurmur.
If you make a run, you don't make changes. I mean, for the most part. Yeah, you might enhance here and there if a guy becomes available. But for the most part, if you go 10-7 after going 5-11 last year, make the playoffs, that's progress. Those are things that are going in the right direction. As an administrator, as a manager, as a general manager, I'm looking, is my team heading in the right direction? And if I go from 5-11 to 10-7 and into the playoffs, the answer is yes. If I make those changes, it becomes that much harder to hire the next guy. So, man, this guy just went 10-7, improved, doubled his team's win, and they fired him. I don't want to go work for that guy. I'll go work for them. Money changes that. The almighty dollar speaks louder than any of those types of perceptions. But if you make a run with the guys you have, they're probably not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that engineered the run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And we got Peter saying outside linebacker is a huge need. I'm asking us, as a society, Broncos country, schemes on defense are so fluid today. Everybody runs a little bit of both. Let's move on from the terminology outside linebacker and let's just start calling them edge rushers because I think that's much more conducive to the multiple schemes fronts where they're running 3-3-5 stack, the 3-4, 4-2-5.
Here's my problem there. Do I need to hyphenate edge rusher when I write it? No.
Why would you need to hyphenate?
I don't know.
Okay, no, just edge.
Okay.
You don't even need rusher, just edge. The position is edge. No,
I don't know. Hyphens have become a big part of my life in the last few months for some reason.
Oh, you changed that last name? What's getting the wife's name on there too? No, that's no. I think that's a big thing, and also I think we can also, as a society, an educated psychopath like we are. Anybody joining us right now, probably an educated psychopath about the Broncos. We love you for that, just like us. I think we need to start talking a little bit more about what techniques defensive linemen can play. Wide receivers, X, Z slot, tight ends, H or no, it's F or Y. You know, those kind of things. Like football has become, there's so many different niches that like just saying outside linebacker does not mean anything to me because Bradley Chubb's an outside linebacker. So is Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Those guys are completely different. So we gotta be better with terminology. Peter, I love you. I just got to get up in my soapbox. Edge rusher. Let's do edge. Edge is a massive need for the Broncos. Malik Reed, probably going to put the second round tender on him this offseason. Not the original round tender because he's undrafted, but a second round tender. If somebody gives you a second round tender for him, that'd be great. Bradley Chubb, 5th year option. And then it's just Jonathan Cooper. So you need an edge rusher. No doubt about it. Tim Durr, John Fox made the playoffs and got canned. John Fox had Peyton Manning, and Peyton Manning, you think Peyton Manning wasn't carrying a big stick there saying, hey, this guy maybe not getting it done. Maybe we need something else.
Well, and my question on this is, what were the 2 seasons before he got canned?
It was he got canned in 2014. So 2012, they got upset by the Ravens, and he kneeled it with like 50 seconds left, even though they had Peyton Manning. Dumb. Then they also disappointed in the Super Bowl, obviously 2013. Then 2014. All his coaching staff was interviewing elsewhere, and the Broncos did not show up against the Colts and got beat by Andrew Luck and Indianapolis in Denver.
The question is, but he didn't. He may have made the playoffs, but I bet the trajectory wasn't an upward trajectory for that team when he got fired.
Yeah,
would be my guess. I don't know for sure, but my guess is at best they were flat and probably took a little bit of a dip. Our trajectory is on the rise right here. With Big Red coming in, with Ethan coming in, the 100 pounds. So Risner changed. Either of your thoughts about him the past few weeks?
Big cup of coffee there. Sorry. Risner has changed my thoughts the last couple weeks. I think that he's been playing better. I think that ankle injury that he had is trending better. And I also think that the Broncos stylistically has helped him as well. He's been doing very good. I really have loved the counters that we've been seeing from Denver and the pin pulls going on from the offensive line. And that's really helped him. But Risner's been playing better, no doubt about it. And he has he's on the boat for next season as well. It's his last year. The last year on his contract will be next year. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens here. But he's playing pretty darn well. I'm not ready to say pay the man like I am Draymond Jones. I'll be screaming that from the mountaintop, like pay that dude today.
Literally.
But I
want a video of that. That should be your first Snapchat, Nick. When you do your hiking, I want you to get up on a mountain, pay the man.
Pay Draymond. You got to, man. He's been great. But Risner has been much better the last few weeks. Honestly, he's been their best offensive lineman these last few weeks, too, now that I think about it. A lot of that, you guys have heard me say it on here a lot of times. Offensive line is about the collective, not one individual guy. I saw that this year with Tyler Linderbaum at Iowa. They couldn't run zone stretch to save their goddamn life, but Tyler Linderbaum's killing dudes down the field. Just so frustrating. But Risner has been good. He's been good, though, as the collective has gotten better as well. So I think it's an important that you have to understand the collective. Lloyd Cushenberry is playing better. The tackles have been solidified. Quinn Miners, even though the pass protection has been erratic, the run game has been good. So it's I don't think it's a coincidence that it coincides with the collective being better.
I would still go get another guard because at least an interior lineman, because I feel better about the three when you talk about Cushenberry, Miners, Risner. Glasgow, I said from the moment I looked at Spot Rack and looked at your looked at your salary cap list. So Glasgow will not play on that contract next year. No way. Unless he plays at a Pro Bowl level. I mean, I think he's at the beginning of the season, he was your highest paid, highest cap guy. That for a guard. Well, he better be a Hall of Fame type guard if that's the case. And he wasn't, for one, and two, I think he was actually playing as a negative before he got hurt. He was a liability. So you need another interior lineman. Go get another, in the third, fourth round. Go get somebody that can push all three of those guys. Because remember, Myers was brought in to play possibly center, and he's going to have all offseason to focus on being just a Denver Broncos offensive lineman instead of just trying to be the best draft pick he can be. So I expect to see Myers take a big leap from year 1 to year 2. Risner's been playing well. So for me, when we talk about best player available, how do you build your team? If the best player available also fits a big need, that is how it goes the best. And I still think right tackle is your biggest need on offense right now besides quarterback. So right tackle for me ahead of interior line.
Yeah, for sure. It would be great to get a guy who can do a little bit of both. I know that the future status of Billy Turner is not. Oh, we're gonna get Miguel out of here. See you, Miguel.
Got it.
Okay. Yep. Sorry, that's not very nice, Miguel. Yeah, no.
He's in on one of the other Facebook channels because I didn't see him in. Did not see him in my and then luckily our YouTube folks don't have to see the vulgarities. You just have to listen to Nick's vulgarities.
You just have to hear my potty mouth. Exactly. Gosh, I lost my train of thought there. Yeah, the interior offensive line would be good to add some depth to. That's one of the things when you have 5 first-round picks, and if the Broncos don't trade for a quarterback or trade up for a quarterback, you want to invest in the defensive line and the offensive line. And those guys typically take 2 years or whatever to get going. You're going to see more dividends for the 2023 season, 2024 season with those investments, but you're not going to see what's happening with the Minnesota Vikings right now, where their defensive line is just getting blasted, 6 yards down the field consistently, or cover your ears, Scott. What you're seeing with the Falcons with their defensive line right now, where they have not been investing in that, and they just have no punch at all on the defensive line. So you want to invest in those positions. So it'll be important.
If it's not Grady Jarrett, it's nobody.
Yeah, gosh, it's rough over there.
Nick and I actually had a conversation on it. It says, we could make a pretty good team out of the 2 teams. So what 3 players would you take from the Falcons and put on the Broncos? And Grady Jarrett was one of mine, despite the fact that it might not be the bigger need. Grady Jarrett's just that good. And he's by himself. It's like, oh, we got Grady. We don't need any other linemen. We're good.
Yeah, and he's also, unfortunately, with how the game is trending, the way I see it defensively, he's still really good, but having guys that are super versatile in multiple positional alignments and that have length, I think length is very important on the defensive line. 2 things that Grady does not have, unfortunately, but he's still really good. I mean, you don't want to, because he doesn't fit those metrics, doesn't mean he's not a good football player, but I feel like the game is kind of trending even further away from kinds of players like him. The 3 guys that I just took the best players. I know that people take the eye roll and we don't really need these guys, but Matt Ryan for sure. Duh. But then I took AJ Terrell, one of the top 5 cornerbacks in football right now. And then Kyle Pitts. I mean, Teddy does not get him the ball. Okay, well, think about how much more versatile you're going to be with Pitts out there as well. And then the efficiency for when you do get him the ball, good luck. So
we're running a lot of time. We'll get into this on another day. Because there's a couple players again, the teams are very, very similar. Even the teams they've played against are similar, so much so that I keep mixing them up in my head.
The Broncos' back 7 is like 20 times better. But other than that,
oh, yeah, not even close.
And the wide receivers are 20 times better, probably, too.
So Roadrunner comes and says, good luck, guys. Let's go Broncos from a Fins fan. I appreciate you, Roadrunner. Welcome to the show. Stop in anytime. You have any questions? We like to talk a lot of draft, too. So even though it's not, especially once we hit the offseason here, which isn't that far away because the season is flying, we like talking all kinds of football. So welcome in today.
Yeah, you want to talk about another team that needs to add some logs to the fire with the offensive line. Ooh, man, the Dolphins have not been great there. Prediction, Scott, I have another show Saturday.
I say it every time. Sorry.
I have another show Saturday. But I'll give you the floor since this is the last time you will be on camera until the game.
I feel like Charlie Brown again. I'm feeling Broncos at home, and I don't like when I'm feeling that way because I don't remember the Lions. I was like, otherwise, I think the last 4 times I've picked the Broncos to win, other than the Lions, they lost all 4 of them. I'm going to go the other way with it, just because I'm not going to get too high and mighty about this Lions win. I'm going to stick by what I've been saying all season with what I've seen, which is the Broncos struggle with teams that are strong in the trenches. The Cincinnati Bengals stop the run well, and they run the ball well. Mm-hmm. If they can limit the, oh my God, what are you doing plays like they had against the 49ers and still almost won that game, then they're going to be tough to beat. I think this will be fairly low scoring because of the running games, as long as the turnovers are limited. And I think the Bengals pull it out. Let's say 3 field goals, 16, about somewhere in the neighborhood of 19-16. A strange score as they struggle to get touchdowns. 19-16. I'm going to go with the Bengals on here. We've called this a must-win game. This is the closure you need for the turnover you want.
Yeah, that's a good call. We haven't even talked about him at all. I know we're kind of running out of time, but the Bengals. I know a lot of people chastised the Bengals this past offseason when they let go of Carl Lawson, who got paid a big contract by the Jets. It's unfortunate he got hurt, but hopefully he'll come back healthy next season because he's a good player. But they paid Trey Hendrickson a lot of money, and boy, Trey Hendrickson, very, very good player. I don't think we give him enough credit. The Saints have missed him this season. I think he was a Florida international player, killed it at the Shrine Bowl the year that he was down there. I remember being very high on him coming out, and the Bengals paid him a big contract. A lot of people were like, man, the Bengals, man, what are they doing paying Trey Hendrickson? Trey Hendrickson's been great. And when he's not out there, they struggle to get after the passer. So keep an eye out for Trey Hendrickson. He's one that, with the Broncos' concerns and pass protection against the run, or again at the edge spots with the tackles, Trey Hendrickson can make their life trouble and can make Teddy's life trouble. So watch out for Trey Hendrickson. He scares me. A good edge rusher, that scares me.
And Ethan on here, 22nd against the run. Last 4 games, they've given up 72 yards, 51 yards, 79 yards, and 100 yards. So they've been trending in the right direction against the run, and they can absolutely run the ball. And my guess is if they're allowed to stack the box, then they'll do even better against the run. So they've been playing well against the run, even if their overall numbers on the season early on, you look up at 123 against the Bears, running quarterback, 139 against the Jaguars, 133 against the Packers, and 153 against the Browns. We know how they can run the ball. So against the Raiders, Steelers, Chargers, and 49ers, they're averaging about 70 yards against. That's pretty solid.
Yeah, for me, it comes down to the efficiency metrics. The Bengals are doing the opposite of what the Broncos are doing for their defense. They're putting them in bad positions pretty consistently because they are not having very good sustained drives. Their defense has seen some of the highest rate of possessions per game of any team in football. So the raw data, like the per game data, doesn't look as good. But when you look at it per drive, they're pretty good. And per play, they're pretty good. EPA per rush, they are 10th in the NFL, EPA per rush. So they're solid there, and their success rate against the run is very good as well. So they concern me. I think the Broncos, I don't trust Teddy enough right now, where I think that you need to totally counteract what your identity is. I think you still need to run the football and protect Teddy and be calculated and efficient when you do pass the football. But I don't think you want to go away from the run game, even though the Bengals rush defense is pretty good. But that means your defense has to come out playing well out of the gate, because if you're trying to feel it out and saying we still want to run the football, you cannot blink and be down 10-0. Mm-hmm. You just can't. The defense has to come out and play good out of the gate. Otherwise, you could be in trouble.
Yeah, and Peter says, Jacksonville, do we mention the sacking? Sacking goes against passing yards in the NFL, not rushing like it does in college, unless they've changed that.
He's talking about Urban Meyer.
But
he's talking Urban.
That sacking. Yeah, yes. I'm thinking sacks. Did we mention the sacking? I said yesterday, I was during the pod last night, we were talking about Urban Meyer looking like a one and done, and I typed in the background, I said, I don't think he's going to make one. And later that night, he was canned. And yeah, Peter, we talked about this at the beginning. I gave fairly strong statements of my feelings of Urban Meyer, going back to when I used to go down to his football camps when he was just getting to the University of Florida in the mid 2000s. And Not really a big fan of the person, but you can't argue with the results he's got in college. The question was, will he be out of football? No. Only if he wants to be. It'll still be up to him. These guys, I refer to college coaches. It's kind of like the mob, and pro coaches. Once you're a made man, you've got a job for life. These guys just keep getting recycled over and over and over. And if you've had the success and the resume that Urban Meyer has at the college level, he'll get another shot. Believe that.
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody asked about, we got Joel coming in here asking how much cap space do the Broncos get if they released Glasgow. I'm hoping that they can find maybe the Broncos can eat some cap and find a trade partner for Glasgow just to get some relief on this, but it's not the best as far as return. The Broncos get $6 million in cap space if they move on from Glasgow. Yay. But they have $6 million dead cap. So it's not the best return as far as the dead cap number as well. Maybe that means that Glasgow comes back for one more year and you're just happy to have the depth on there. Is that $6 million worth it? We'll see. Maybe they're going to need that either way, but the $6 million is not going to be super big. If they wait until post June 1st, post June 1st, they can have that $6 million cap hit cut across 2 seasons from 2022 to 2023 and then save $9 million.
Again, remember, you're still talking about someone else's money and you'd save $12 million in cash.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but we were just talking about having depth on the interior offensive line, and you're going to create $6 million in dead cap. Maybe and Glasgow, by all accounts, is known as a pretty good locker room guy as well. Maybe it'd be worth it, unless there's a trade partner out there, to hold on to him until after the draft or June 1st. And if he's not playing as well, then you can move on from him, and you'd save more money.
For him coming off an injury with that kind of money?
You don't think so? Like a 7th round pick? I mean, you see. Okay, I could see somebody that's pretty desperate if you eat some of the cap as well, but then you're getting a pick in return. So I don't know. I think $6 million dead is not something I'd really want to just outright move on from for only the $6 million savings personally, because you're talking about adding another need out there. Are you going to get that for $6 million
with $6 million? Could I get a better guard than Glasgow?
Maybe I don't know. Maybe. He's solid. And also he has center guard versatility, which I think is something that you need on this team as well. So again, I'm sitting there. I think you can sit on him through the draft and everything. And then if you found a better option than him, hopefully you don't need that $6 million. That $6 million is going to make or break a deal.
You offer an extension. I mean, that's where you start. You say, hey, you want 3 years and $12 million, and get paid, because he's gotten paid. He's never going to see that money again. He's never going to see that much money again that he got on this last contract. No way.
No.
So he'll probably say, no, thanks. I'll check my options. Check my options out there. And hey, you're free to talk with other teams. Your agent. Go ahead. Explore it. But no way does he come back on that deal next year.
Yeah. I'm in on that. I agree with you. I don't know. I would like to move him, but I think that the way the contract sets up, unless you absolutely need that $6 million, which hopefully you won't, I would sit on him until the June 1st, because then you get $3 more million in cap space for the season, and then you can split that.
I'm just speaking prior to next season. No way is he playing in 2022 as a Denver Bronco on that contract. That would shock me.
And I just need to be careful what I say, because he follows me on Twitter and he comments on my stuff sometimes. So, Graham, I see you out there. I see you see me.
I've always said I will not say anything that I would not. I'm accountable. Who am I accountable to? I'm accountable to all of you, and I'm accountable to anybody that would come up and say to my face, I say, Graham, I'm sorry you got hurt, but I just don't see I don't see you being able to keep this contract on this team. I think you're in trouble, and your agent needs to be looking and shopping. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. We'll see what happens, but I think that the way the contract works, the post June 1st, hopefully you don't need that $6 million to make or break a contract down the stretch, and then you can save yourself more money, and the dead cap is not as bad as it continues to go up. So that's just how the contract lines up. We'll see. But guys, we got to get on out of here. My wife has an interview, so I got to get on out of here as well. And then we're going to be flying across the country from Seattle to Chicago and back home for Christmas. So the next time you see me, background will be different. I'll probably be in my childhood bedroom or something. I don't know. But we appreciate you guys. You guys are great. You guys can follow. You know who else is great? Scott. Make sure you're following Scott on Twitter. Scott is at Scout Kennedy. I'm not as great, but again, if you guys want to disparage me, I'm all for it. I'm a man. I can take it. At Nick Kendall, MHH. We'd appreciate those follows on Twitter. Also follow us at Huddle Up Pod and at Mile High Huddle. Check out the gear at huddleuppod.com. The beanies came in for Scott. I know he's excited about that. I know he's jonesing to get one of those. I had a couple people actually message me saying, Nick, where can I get the Broncos for breakfast beanie? So that's awesome. That's really cool. Huddleuppod.com. Check it out. Facebook.com/Mile High Huddle and also Facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod. Join us on there. If there's anything on here that stuck out to you that you want to dive deeper into, at me on Facebook, at me on Twitter. You know, I'm here to live for those conversations. I'm going to be home with my family for a lot of time, which means
please,
I'm going to be.
I need the distraction. Please help me.
Help me with some football talk here. That'll be great. Also, make sure to go to Apple Podcasts if you're listening after the fact or right now. You have an iTunes account. Make sure you go onto there and leave a rating. That would help us a heck of a lot, and we appreciate that. Also, subscribe, like, and share to this channel and Scott's channel. We said it earlier. Scott is so close to 1,000 followers. Get him there. Make his Christmas. You know, that would be amazing. So make sure you guys are checking out Scott's channel, youtube.com/C/Scott Kennedy. Let's see some people closing out here. Awesome pod today, fellas. Thank you. Thank you very much. We got US Dave saying the best of MHH. I don't know about that, but we appreciate you. Thanks for the great shows. This is Jeremy, Travis. Good to see you, Travis. Love you, Travis. Good show, guys. Have a great day. Safe travels, Nick. Safe travels, Nick, as well. Yeah, hopefully it'll be good. We're flying across country with the cat. So
and several new names today. Several new names coming in today. So welcome to all of you. Appreciate the fact that this show is growing. We're not going anywhere. If anything, we'll expand. We're here because you're here. So thank you very much.
Yep. Have a good one, guys. We will see you again Monday morning for hopefully a victory Monday. God, that would be incredible. I wish I could just.
This is a big one. I mean, it takes 14 weeks to play meaningful football in the NFL, but we're here.
We are here. I wish I could just sit down in a room with the Broncos players. A lot of these players are feeling like, oh man, why aren't we getting the love? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, listen, every single time it seems like this fan base has been close to buying in. You lay an egg. You go on the 3-game win stretch, then you come home to Baltimore. Fat egg. Terrible. You go to Dallas and you kick Dallas's teeth in. You come home. Terrible against Philly. Defense gives up 24 points in the first half or something. Just crazy. Or not 24. 20 points in the first half. Terrible.
The Browns one is the one that does it for me. The Browns and the Eagles ones. Two very flawed teams that just kick your butts in the trenches. Those are the ones that make me not buy in. It's like if you're getting whipped that badly in the trenches, you cannot be a good football team. So now is the time. Cincinnati's a good team. They're a good team. They've got a lot to play for too. No excuses.
One more for you that really just bothers the hell out of me in hindsight. The Cincinnati one for sure. The short week, I give them a little bit of a break on that one because their linebackers were that bad. Curtis Robinson's working at a local State Farm at this point. Maybe. God, I'm sorry, Curtis Robinson. You're a punching bag. But that was an assault to my eyeballs against the Browns. But the one that really drives me nuts is how terrible the run defense was against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers are dreadful in the offensive line, and they were just getting pushed constantly. It was horrible. Drive me nuts. That Steelers game sticks out to me because they're not very good. That's not a very good Steelers team, and their offensive line is terrible, and they whipped you. So that one, I wish we could play them again. Broncos would win by 10 if they played the Steelers right now. Maybe. So, guys, we love you. I got to get on out of here. You guys stay safe. We'll see you again soon. Make sure you're tuning in tonight for Huddle Up Pod Show. And stay safe. Choose kindness. Go Broncos. Happy holidays.